Have you ever considered that the promise of return, of reincarnation, of cosmic cycles might be the most elegant prison ever designed? What if the very path that promises liberation is actually the mechanism that keeps us bound? Jesus didn't come to guarantee our return to this world or the next. He came to expose the entire system of returning as the ultimate deception. The light we've been following may be nothing more than a lighthouse designed to draw ships back to the same rocky shores, again and again, in an endless cycle of spiritual shipwreck and salvage. What appears as the promise of evolution might actually be the perfect trap, a cosmic treadmill disguised as a journey. But what if there was a way out that few have recognized, hidden within teachings that have been systematically misinterpreted for 2,000 years? I invite you to consider a revelation so profound it challenges everything we've been taught about our spiritual journey. That Jesus came not to facilitate our return, but to expose the very machinery of returning itself. His message wasn't about ensuring we come back purified. It was about escaping the need to come back at all. This isn't merely a new interpretation. It's the original understanding, buried beneath centuries of control and spiritual misdirection. The ancient Gnostic texts discovered at Nag Hammadi in 1945 revealed a Christianity vastly different from what mainstream religion has presented. These texts, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Apocryphon of John, preserve fragments of a teaching so dangerous it had to be suppressed. They speak of a Jesus who didn't come to save us from sin, but to awaken us from a cosmic illusion, an illusion maintained by what the Gnostics called the Demiurge, the false creator who built this world as a simulacrum of true reality. This false creator, this cosmic architect, designed not just the physical world, but the spiritual mechanisms that keep souls recycling through it. The most insidious of these mechanisms is the promise of return itself, the belief that through repeated lives, through karma and cosmic justice, we gradually ascend. But what if this entire framework is the deception? What if the promise of spiritual evolution through endless returns is actually the perfect way to farm human consciousness indefinitely? Jesus spoke of this when he said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you," not distant, not requiring endless journeys through matter, but present now for those who have eyes to see. The Gnostic texts reveal a Christ who came not as a gatekeeper to another cycle of existence, but as a codebreaker who exposed the very program of existence itself. If these words resonate with something deep within you, something that has always suspected there was more to the story, then perhaps you're one of those souls preparing for the ultimate liberation. This channel serves as a gathering place for those who sense the deeper currents beneath conventional spirituality, for those who suspect that true freedom might look nothing like what we've been taught. Join us on this journey by subscribing. This isn't merely content, it's a remembrance, a recollection of what your soul knew before it entered this realm of forgetting. Each video is designed not just to inform, but to awaken. Subscribe not to follow, but to remember alongside us. Long before the birth of Jesus, ancient cosmologies across the world spoke of cycles, the great wheel of time, the eternal return, samsara. These weren't just primitive attempts to understand existence, they were reflections of a cosmic architecture designed with purpose. The Gnostics understood that this architecture was created by the Demiurge, not the true God, but a lesser, flawed creator who fashioned the material world as a shadow of true reality. This Demiurge wasn't necessarily evil in the conventional sense, but ignorant, a being who believed itself to be the highest power, unaware of the true spiritual realms above. Surrounded by its servants, the Archons, the Demiurge created a system that appears to offer spiritual progress, but actually ensures souls remain in bondage, cycling through incarnations in an endless loop of forgetting and partial remembering. The machinery of this system is ingenious. At death, the soul encounters various lights, guides, and promises of healing and growth in the next life. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes this process in detail. The bardo states where souls are shown visions and given choices that seem to represent freedom but actually determine their next incarnation. The Gnostics recognized this as the moment of greatest deception, when the soul, disoriented by death, is most vulnerable to accepting another term in the prison of matter. Jesus came as an emissary from beyond this system. In the Gospel of Thomas, he says, "I am not your master. Because you have drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring which I have measured out." He's telling us he didn't come to rule over us or guide us through more cycles, but to show us the exit from the cycle itself. The bubbling spring is the direct knowledge, gnosis, that liberates. This is why Jesus spoke so often in paradoxes and parables that confused the literal mind. He wasn't offering a new religion, but a coded message for those with ears to hear, a cosmic wake-up call that bypassed the archonic monitoring systems. When he said, "The kingdom of God is within you," he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was giving precise coordinates for escape. The Pistis Sophia, another Gnostic text, describes how the divine wisdom, Sophia, became trapped in matter, and how Christ came to liberate this divine spark. This isn't just cosmic mythology. It's the story of your consciousness, the divine fragment within you that has been cycling through the Demiurge's system, lifetime after lifetime, slowly forgetting its true nature with each passage. What makes this understanding so revolutionary is that it places the power of liberation in your hands now. Not after death, not after many lifetimes of purification, but in this moment, through direct recognition of what you truly are. The kingdom is not coming. It need not be returned to. It is already here, within, waiting to be recognized. What does this mean for us as modern humans, caught in the machinery of contemporary life? It means reconsidering everything we've been taught about spiritual progress. The Demiurge isn't just an ancient mythological figure. It's a present reality, a force that manifests today through every system that promises future fulfillment at the cost of present awareness. Think about how we conceptualize spiritual growth in modern terms. We speak of journeys, of paths, of gradual evolution toward enlightenment. We accept that it takes many lifetimes to purify ourselves enough to achieve liberation. But what if this very framework, reasonable and compassionate as it seems, is the mechanism of control? What if the true prison isn't our imperfection, but our acceptance of a system that uses our desire for perfection to keep us coming back? The Archons, those servants of the Demiurge, aren't demons with pitchforks. They're more like algorithms in the cosmic program, forces that maintain order by keeping consciousness within certain parameters. In psychological terms, they manifest as the thought patterns that automatically dismiss any insight that might free us from the cycle. They're the voice that says, "That's too easy," or "Spiritual growth requires suffering and time," or "You're not ready yet." Jesus exposed this system not by fighting it directly, but by demonstrating its irrelevance. When he said, "My kingdom is not of this world," he wasn't speaking of a heaven in the clouds, but of a state of consciousness that exists outside the Demiurge's jurisdiction. He showed that liberation doesn't come through following rules or even through being a good person within the system. It comes through recognizing that you are not of the system at all. This is why his teachings were so threatening to both religious and secular authorities. He wasn't offering a better way to be a prisoner. He was revealing that the prison itself was an illusion that existed only through our participation in it. The cross itself can be understood as the system's attempt to patch this hole in its programming, to turn the messenger of liberation into another control mechanism by transforming his message of immediate freedom into one of deferred salvation. If you find yourself resonating with this deeper understanding, if something within you recognizes the truth of what's being shared, take a moment to acknowledge that recognition. This isn't about intellectual agreement. It's about a remembrance that happens at a level deeper than thought. Leave a like on this video not as social validation, but as a marker for others seeking this knowledge. Each like creates a beacon that helps this message find those who are ready to receive it. It's a simple gesture that says, I remember, and in my remembering, I help others remember too. This isn't about popularity or algorithms, though ironically, even those constructs of our digital world mirror the greater cosmic algorithms we're discussing. It's about creating a network of remembrance strong enough to sustain those who are awakening to their true nature beyond the cycle of return. How does this understanding change your daily life? It begins with questioning the narrative of progress that underlies most spiritual traditions. Ask yourself, what if I don't need to become better? What if I don't need to purify myself through many lifetimes? What if the divine spark within me is already perfect, already complete, already free? This doesn't mean abandoning ethics or responsibility. Quite the opposite. It means acting from a place of inherent wholeness rather than striving and lack. The Gnostic Jesus never suggested that we should ignore the suffering of others or indulge our every impulse. He taught that true freedom manifests as love, not the conditional love of the Demiurge's system, which always has an agenda, but the unconditional love that flows naturally from recognition of our shared divine nature. Consider how much of your spiritual practice is based on becoming rather than being. How often have you postponed happiness or peace until you've achieved some future state of enlightenment? How many times have you thought, when I'm more advanced, then I'll be free? This is the Demiurge's logic, always placing liberation just out of reach, always requiring one more lifetime, one more lesson, one more purification. What would change if you recognized that the divine spark within you, what the Gnostics called the pneuma, or spirit, has never been damaged, never been diminished, never actually been trapped, despite appearances? What if your journey isn't about becoming free, but about recognizing the freedom that has always been your true nature? This recognition doesn't happen through effort or achievement. It happens through a relaxation of the conditioned mind, a stepping back from identification with the character you've been playing in the Demiurge's cosmic drama. Jesus pointed to this when he said, we must become as little children to enter the kingdom, not childish, but free from the accumulated concepts that constitute our false identity. The most radical aspect of Jesus' teaching was that this liberation is available now, not after death, not after many lifetimes of spiritual practice, but in this very moment. The only barrier is our continued investment in the story of becoming, our addiction to the journey itself. The freedom Jesus pointed to exists outside of time altogether. It's not that you become free, it's that you recognize you have always been free, and the entire cycle of incarnations exists within a greater reality that has never been touched by the Demiurge's system. This is what the Gospel of Thomas means when Jesus says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. What is within you is not something that needs to be developed or improved. It's your original nature, the divine spark that existed before the Demiurge's system and will exist after it. Bringing it forth means recognizing it, not achieving it. This understanding integrates all the fragments we've explored. The mythic cosmology of the Demiurge and Archons provides the context, the game board on which the drama of incarnation plays out. The philosophical reinterpretation shows us that these aren't just ancient myths, but accurate descriptions of the psychological mechanisms that keep us bound. And the human application reveals that freedom isn't a distant goal, but our most immediate reality. The divine spark within you, your true nature, was never actually captured by the Demiurge's system. Like a dreamer who remains safe in bed while dreaming of adventure and danger, your essential being remains free even while your attention is captivated by the cosmic dream of incarnation. Awakening doesn't require escaping the dream. It simply requires recognizing that you are the dreamer. This is why Jesus spoke of being in the world, but not of the world. He was describing the paradoxical state of recognizing your freedom, even while appearing to be a character within the drama. This recognition doesn't make you special or superior. It simply allows you to participate in life from a place of freedom rather than compulsion, love rather than fear. The Gnostics understood that this recognition is contagious. When one person remembers their true nature, it creates a resonance that helps others remember too. This is the deeper meaning of the community or ecclesia that Jesus spoke of, not an institution or religion, but a living network of awakened consciousness that sustains and amplifies the remembrance of freedom. Perhaps now you can see why the cycle of return, the great cosmic mechanism that promises evolution through repeated incarnations, is actually the most sophisticated control system imaginable. It doesn't deny spiritual reality. It offers a convincing simulation of it. It doesn't prevent growth. It allows enough growth to keep hope alive, while ensuring you never quite reach the recognition that would free you from the cycle entirely. And so we return to our opening paradox, but now with new eyes. The promise of return isn't a path to freedom, it's the very mechanism that maintains the illusion of separation. The true teaching of Jesus wasn't about ensuring a better reincarnation or a heavenly afterlife. It was about recognizing that your essential nature transcends the entire cycle of birth and death. This recognition doesn't come through effort or achievement. It comes through a simple shift in perspective, from identifying with the character in the dream to remembering that you are the dreamer. This shift isn't something you do, it's something you allow. By relaxing your grip on all the concepts and identities you've accumulated throughout your journey through the Demiurge's world. The freedom Jesus pointed to isn't freedom within the system, but freedom from the system itself. It's the recognition that your true nature was never actually bound by the mechanisms of incarnation and karma. Like a character in a novel, suddenly recognizing that they exist within the mind of both author and reader, you realize that the entire drama of spiritual evolution takes place within a consciousness that has always been free. This is the liberation that no system can contain, no religion can package, and no authority can control. It's not something you achieve, it's what you already are, beneath all the layers of forgetting that constitute the human condition. And in that recognition, the Demiurge's most elegant deception, the cycle of return itself, is finally exposed for what it is, not a path to freedom, but the very mechanism of forgetting. What has this revelation awakened in you? If these words have touched something deeper than thought, something that resonates with a knowing beyond knowledge, share that resonance with others. Write the word "awake" in the comments, not as a claim about your state, but as a recognition of the possibility that exists in every moment, for every being. The possibility of remembering what we have always been, beyond all cycles of forgetting and return.